Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another live stream, another reaction to Liverpool 0, Arsenal 0 at the Emirates last night. What a game. Maybe not the most exciting game, but a game that certainly proved me wrong. All week, I've been saying that Liverpool have got very little hope of getting anything in this game. All week long, I've been saying that Arsenal are going to destroy us. Arsenal are going to win this game pretty comfortably. I had very little faith in my own team that we would get anything out of this game. And yet, I've been proven wrong. And I will hold my hands up and say that I was completely wrong. And I'm happy to be wrong. I'm glad that I was wrong. And you know what? Fair play to the vast majority of those men in red last night, or should I say white last night, in terms of the white away kit of Liverpool. I was quite surprised, actually, we weren't in the green one, but it is what it is. And yeah, I'm very much surprised. I think Liverpool deserve immense amounts of credit for the way that they were able to not only neutralize Arsenal, but for the way that they almost managed to win the game. They were the better team in the second half. They were a team that, even though they were the away side, had the better chances, and Arsenal barely managed to lay a glove on Liverpool in the entirety of the game. And I think in the first half, I think Arsenal probably did shade it slightly as the better side, but it wasn't as if, you know, Alisson had incredible saves to make. It wasn't as if Alisson was tested in that Liverpool goal for the most part. And yeah, I was very much surprised in how the game went. I was very much surprised in the discipline and the well-organized structure that Liverpool played with yesterday. I think the midfield was solid. I think the defense was solid. And, you know, on another day, maybe that Conor Bradley chance in the first half, maybe that goes an inch, maybe slightly lower, and maybe it hits the underside of the bar and goes in, or, you know, something along them lines. It was somewhat unfortunate by Conor Bradley to have hit the bar, but yeah, that was probably the closest anybody here came on the night to breaking the deadlock. And like I say, I really do like what I saw last night for the most part, because that was going to be the only way that Liverpool were going to get something out of the game, by playing the way that we did. That was the only way that Liverpool had a hope of actually getting something out of that game. You know, starting off slow, but then gradually growing into it, being disciplined, being solid, nullifying Arsenal for the most part. And then, of course, it was all about whether or not we could maybe take a chance down at the other end. And we were so close to doing that and maybe getting a win that nobody, or not many people at least, expected us to get. Big up to each and every single one of you, of course, that is in the building right now. Smash a like on the video and also subscribe if you are new. Both things will always and probably be greatly appreciated. And, of course, get involved in the chat, whether you're telling me that you're new here, your name, or whether it was something along the lines of where you're watching from today, what you're up to today, or you just want to talk some football with me. That is always very greatly appreciated by each and every single one of you. So please do feel free to get involved and join or rejoin the community, or whatever it is Big up to each and every single one of you that's in the building already. Very early on this Friday morning. Very cold outside. Obviously, been snowing in the UK. So make sure you're all nice and warm and stay safe out there. But yes, Liverpool get a huge point against Arsenal. Look, just a quick word on the Arsenal side of things. Not the worst result for Arsenal by any stretch of the imagination. I think it is a bit of a missed opportunity for them, given the frailties and given the fragility of this Liverpool side. But it's not the worst result in the world. I think it's one of them results that you just take on the chin and you move on. And as long as you redeem yourself in the next game, you'll be fine to move on. I understand there was a little frustration in the Arsenal fan base about not obviously capitalizing on Liverpool being in a pretty poor being in a poor position right now. But it's one of those ones you just take on the chin, you move on, and it's as you were as far as what Arsenal are concerned at the top of the table going into game week 21. Nothing's really changed other than obviously everybody has now got an extra point to show for their efforts. I felt Arsenal on the day pretty poor. But I think a lot of that was down to Liverpool making them look poor. Liverpool being strong in those areas that I talked about and denying Arsenal the real opportunity to play the way that we know they can, to obviously use set pieces to their full advantage. And I'm very happy for that. I'm very happy for that. I've been giving a lot of these players criticisms over the season. I've been giving the manager especially criticisms over the season, but I can't really criticize the majority of the squad last night. There are a couple of things that I can maybe nitpick. I can maybe say that Jeremy Frimpong's final ball left a lot to be desired last night. He did everything right until he got to the final third, and then his decision-making and execution of his final pass or his shot or whatever it was let him down a little bit. I thought that Cody Gakpo was both anonymous and underwhelming last night. Everything that he tried to do, it just did not come off for him like it has been for the majority of the season. I was very much surprised that he played the entire game. I'm sitting there looking at Rio Angamora on our bench or Federico Chiesa on our bench and screaming at Slot, bring one of them on for him because it's clearly not working for him. It's like we were down to 10 men yesterday because he was just that anonymous. He was just that bad, Gakpo. But he played the entirety of the game. He was the only poor player, I believe, from last night, Gakpo. And again, I'm not scapegoating. I'm not trying to, put a dampener on things, but I have to call it out and say it. Gakpo was pretty poor yesterday, and it did sort of, like I say, it was shown. It was shown. It was almost like we were down to 10 men for the vast majority for the entire game because of how poor Gakpo's performance was. It was an absolute stinker as far as what I'm concerned. But yeah, other than Frimpong in the final third, which I can nitpick because I thought he was very, very good. And I thought that he had Miles Lewis-Skelly on toast in that second half. And I thought that was a turning point, by the way. I thought the opening 20 minutes of the game was really all Arsenal. Opening 15, 20 minutes or so, it was all Arsenal, as you'd expect. They were fast out the traps. They obviously fed off the energy of the crowd. but Liverpool's game plan was executed to perfection. It was basically sit deep in the opening 20 minutes, soak up the pressure, quieten the crowd, and they did that. And that's exactly what happened. The Arsenal crowd and the Arsenal players played right into Arne Slot and Liverpool's hands. And then from that 20-minute mark, I think from the Conor Bradley chance onwards, it was a little bit 50-50 in that first half from that point forward, but then in the second half, it was the majority of it being Liverpool. Liverpool with the majority of possession. Arteta tried something a little different in terms of giving up possession to try and hurt Liverpool on the counter, but Liverpool was so solid in that midfield, so solid defensively, that maybe until the final 5 minutes or so, they didn't really get out their own half much. I don't really remember, again, the Liverpool defence or Alisson being tested. Liverpool were really, really good in nullifying Arsenal, being in control of that game. And that's something that has been horribly lacking from Liverpool for the vast majority of this season. It has been control. But yet Liverpool got that in great abundance last night. And fair play to each and every single one of those Liverpool players. A little bit surprised that Slot didn't make substitutions in the game until obviously the ending with Conor Bradley, and fingers crossed that Conor Bradley is okay. Gabriel Martinelli, by the way, absolute disgrace for what he did. Here's what I will say though, whilst he was stupid for doing it, I'll also say that I do back what Arne Slot said about Martinelli. I do think that maybe he didn't understand the severity of the injury, and maybe in the heat of the moment when you're trying to obviously get a goal, and because of obviously certain players making a bad reputation for most players in terms of time wasting in those moments, maybe in the heat of the moment he did something just extremely stupid. But you know, it is extremely stupid. Just don't do it. There's no need for you to get involved. There's no need for you to do it. I know Arsenal fans are somewhat weirdly trying to defend him by saying that Bradley rolled back onto the pitch. From the angle that I saw, I mean, he shouldn't have done it in the first place, so there was no need to defend him. But from the angle that I saw, he was going to be partially on the pitch anyway, because he was seemingly on the line when he rolled onto his back. So I don't see how that is why the need to defend Martinelli in that situation. What he did was incredibly stupid. I think the throwing of the ball at him is deliberate. I think throwing the ball at him was deliberate. I think him trying to get him up was just stupid. So I kind of understand where Arne Slot's coming from, and I agree with what Arne Slot said in the aftermath of the game. But yes, Martinelli was incredibly stupid for what he did. Fingers crossed for Conor Bradley. It's nothing too serious, but obviously leaving on a stretcher, it did not look good for the Northern Irish right back. But yeah, he was good on the day as well. So yeah, I mean, apart from that overshadowing the game, that injury, I thought it was a very, very good performance from Liverpool. Let's go to some of your comments, because I know that some of them have been flying in. Big up Super De Moon. Hope, long time no see, my friend. Lovely to have you back with us. The best performance so far of the season. I do not understand why they cannot play like this every game or majority of the games. Frimpong was good. Those runs he was making was fantastic. Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating, isn't it? Because, but here's the thing. Liverpool can't play like this in our next game, regardless of who we have. You know, it's all right playing this way against an Arsenal when you're the underdog. You're not expected to win. You can play like that against Arsenal and get away with it, especially when you consider that we had no Isak, no Ekitike. And I do feel like if we maybe did have one of those players, maybe we could have done more, because obviously we would have had a bit more of an attacking intent, attacking prowess. Instead, we're leading the line with Gakpo, who has been shocking for the majority of this season. So maybe if we did have one of them, maybe we would have shown a bit more attacking impetus to maybe go on and get a goal or something like that. But yes, I 100% agree. It was a very solid display. If you're talking about the control element from the midfield and the defense, then I 100% agree with you. In terms of it being our best performance of the season, because it truly was in terms of that element. Could have been a little better. It could have been, but it could have turned out to be a lot worse. But yeah, it could have been a bit better in terms of if the decision making in the final third had been a little better. Maybe we could have got something more out of the game. But a point was at the very least what we deserved across the entirety of 90 minutes. And as for Jeremy Frimpong has been our best player these past few games. He's been absolutely outstanding, and last night was no different. It was just strange to me that Arsenal didn't recognise it early enough that Jeremy Frimpong was our main and pretty much our only attacking threat through the entirety of the game, because nothing was happening down that left side with Gakpo. Florian Wirtz was doing an incredible job as the false number 9. Again, a lot of people will maybe look at, well, he didn't score and he didn't assist, so what did Florian Wirtz do? Well, Florian Wirtz put in a very good performance as the false number 9 for Liverpool in that game. And what we saw was, although he didn't get anything out of it, he still put in a solid enough performance. But of course, the GA merchants will obviously not look at that performance and go, Florian Wirtz was good. They will look at it and go, it's another underwhelming display. But if you actually watch football with your eyes rather than just look at the stats, you'll know that he actually did have a very, very good game, Florian Wirtz. Frimpong, like I say, was very, very good until it came to the final third. And then his decision-making or his execution of the final pass let him down. There was that one where he got down the right, he beat Miles Lewis-Skelly. For me, he's just got to rip it into the bottom corner. But he's just got to pull it across the face of goal, into that bottom corner, rip it into the back of the net. And he tries to cross it, and it's just not a very good cross. But I thought Frimpong, like I say, was very good until it came to being in the final third. But yeah, I can't really fault the overall performance in terms of control. Big up to Grandiosa. I hope I'm pronouncing that name right, but big up to you, my friend. Thank you for being here. Says, thank you for helping us out, lad. I'm a City supporter. Great result. Big up to you, my friend. Thank you for being here. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't really, obviously, I don't have a horse in the title race anymore. Like Liverpool, I don't think I'm going to be in that title race. I think we're long gone from it. So it's going to be a 2-horse race between Arsenal and Man City. Now, my head is saying that Arsenal will win it. But obviously I would rather City win it. And that might sound weird coming from a Liverpool fan, but some of the Arsenal fan base, some, not all, some are unbearable now without winning silverware under Mikel Arteta. So I just imagine them to be a hell of a lot worse once they finally win silverware. So if City win it, I'm like, who cares? If Arsenal win it, I'm like, great. I have to put up with Arsenal fans for however long it will be until they decide to go back to mediocrity again. Bragging about how Mikel Arteta proved everybody wrong. Mikel Arteta's this great manager, and these players all deserve to be in conversations that maybe they don't necessarily deserve to be in. But Yeah, if City win it, I don't care, and if Arsenal do win it, it's like again, I don't necessarily care, but at the same time, I'm like I have to hear their fans just be even more unbearable than what they originally are. So we shall see. I'm going to just call you Yash. Big up, Yash. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Lovely to have you here. Hope you're doing well, my friend, on this Friday morning. Sadly, both your strikers is out, and Gakpo is not their level, never will be. I mean, he doesn't lack for confidence, and the reason why you know that is because he goes for goal at every opportunity. But at the same time, there's confidence, and then there's stupidity. But yes, Gakpo was not great last night. He was so incredibly frustrating. He couldn't do anything last night. He couldn't take on his man. He couldn't link up play. He couldn't shoot. He couldn't pass. He couldn't dribble. He couldn't do the basics required. It, like I say, it genuinely was like having 10 men last night. And maybe Arsenal will turn around and go, well, we had 10 men because we had Gyökeres on the pitch who only had about 4 touches. I think he had about 4 touches, something ridiculous like that in the entirety of his game, which I think lasted about an hour. So yeah, maybe there could be an argument to suggest that both sides were down to 10 men for the majority of the game, but no, like Gakpo was very poor last night, very poor, very frustrating. And again, I'm sat there going, you said Chiesa was meant to be our third choice striker. Put Chiesa on the pitch. Or at least if you're not going to start him, throw him on when obviously things aren't going well for Gakpo. But he didn't make a change all night. That's the only criticism of Arne Slot that I really have last night. I thought everything else he got down perfectly to a T. Set the team up really well. Had a game plan that was basically just keeping the game for the opening 20 minutes. And from that opening 20 minutes, grow into the game more and more. And then in the second half, we really did take control. I thought it was perfect. But the one area that I criticised Slot for last night, take Gakpo off. Throw Chiesa on. Or if you need to go for a winger, go for something a little different and unique. Go for Rio Engamoa. I know that we spoke about the whole Engamoa and Slot situation earlier this week, but put your foolish pride aside and do it for the benefit and for obviously the better well-being of the overall team and squad and club. Throw Engamoa on, show something different, because you know, we really could have done something last night. It wasn't as if Gakpo was helping out at all. Just go for something different. I'm good, mate. That's good to hear, man. Hope things are well with you. Yeah, all good, man. All good. It's actually refreshing to actually come onto one of these streams and actually talk about Liverpool in a more positive light rather than the same old that I've been so used to this season and being a bit negative. But yes, it's actually all good, my friend. Good to see you again, buddy. What's Slot's issue with Chiesa? I've got no idea, mate. I've genuinely got no idea what his issue with Chiesa is. But yes, it's he's got an issue with Chiesa, but he's got an absolute love fest with Gakpo. It's actually unbelievable. I've got no idea, mate. I agree his decision making is questionable, but to be fair, the more he made these crosses, the better chance for someone to get on it. But you're right, he has to look up and see who's available. I think it may come with time, like his brain and maybe his execution will catch up with his fast legs and with his speed, but. Yes, Frimpong, like I say, I can't really fault Frimpong until it came to being in the final third. Our crossing last night wasn't the best. But at the same time, in saying that, at least it was creating opportunities. And, eventually, if you keep creating enough, your players will eventually take one. So yeah, I can't really fault Frimpong whatsoever. As far as what individual performances go as well, I just want to shout out Kirkez. I thought Kirkez, apart from the opening 20 minutes where I thought Saka pretty much had him on toast, I thought after that 20 minutes, I felt Kirkez really grew into the game more and more. And with the and obviously, it's Bukayo Saka, so of course he's going to create opportunities. But after that opening 20 minutes, I felt he did really nullify the threat that was Bukayo Saka. Like I say, Frimpong was good, Bradley was good. But for me, Alexis freaking McAllister last night. That's what I want to see more of. That's what I like about Alexis McAllister. Back to his best performance last night. Back to his best. Now, obviously, it needs to stay there. Obviously, we need to see signs of consistency when it comes to Alexis McAllister. But last night, I felt Alexis McAllister was absolutely freaking awesome in that midfield role. And it does seem like when he plays well, Liverpool execute game plans really, really well. Liverpool tick. So, just saying, just throwing that out there. I am thinking that we need to sign a new defender right now if we're going to have a chance. I mean, if the Gvardiol and Diaz injuries or anything to go by, then you most certainly should. And like I say, it may mean you may have to overpay for someone like a Guéhi, but it would probably be worth it in the long run. I don't want you to sign Guéhi. I want us to sign Guéhi, of course. But it seems that we are going to maybe miss the boat on that one. So we shall see. We shall see what happens. But I do feel like last night I feel like it breathed new life into the City fan base. I don't know about you, but certain City fans that I saw for whatever reason, sort of breathed a big sigh of relief and maybe felt that this title race is not quite as over as what many people feared going into tonight's game. Now, I still think it kind of is. I still think that Arsenal will have the mentality to regroup and go again. And I think the fixtures in the second half of the season fall kindly for Arsenal. But Liverpool showed last night that Arsenal aren't impenetrable. Arsenal aren't, unbeatable. It's going to be an interesting end to the season, but it's one that I don't necessarily think is going to change too much in terms of how the table looks right now. Points gap may close, of course. And like I say, I do want City to, if it is between Arsenal and City, I would rather City win it than Arsenal. But at the same time, in saying that, it's somewhat more hope than anything else when it comes to Arsenal. When it comes to Arsenal, it's somewhat more hope that they're going to bottle it again. It's somewhat more hope that their fans are going to have very little to celebrate and to brag about at the end of the season again. And that's where I think, we could be in for a long season. But if you lost yesterday, it would be 8 points. So big difference at this stage, even if it is just 2 points. Yeah, that's very true. Like I said at the top of the video, it's as you were in terms of going into this game week. The 6 point gap is maintained. But yeah, there's still obviously a lot of football to go, and Arsenal aren't going to win every game for the remainder of the season, but at the same time, City aren't going to win every game. It's somewhat unlikely that both teams are going to be able to do that. If City can rediscover the form of several years ago, maybe they actually could go on and win every game again, because we have seen them do that before. And, my club have haunting, horrible memories of you doing that. But this Pep Guardiola's side is not that same side that it was several years ago, unfortunately. So it's going to be an interesting end to the season. Like I say, it's not, as you say, it's not a foregone conclusion that Arsenal are going to win it. But if I'm an Arsenal fan, I'm not throwing my toys out the pram over this result. If anything, I'm going, you know what? We take it, we move on. Last season, Liverpool weren't amazing in every game. Liverpool drew the Merseyside derby in frustrating circumstances. Liverpool drew to Fulham in frustrating circumstances. We lost to Nottingham Forest and drew to Nottingham Forest. We couldn't get a win over Nottingham Forest at all last season. So there are frustrating games like this, but you just have to you pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and go again. As far as what Arsenal are concerned, so we shall see, man. We shall see. Frimpong, or whatever his name is, was rather good on the right flank, in my opinion. Yeah, he was very, very good. Like I say, his pace was our only outlet last night because there was nothing coming out of the other side of things. So his pace, like I say, I think it was telling in the second half that Liverpool took full control when Miles Lewis-Skelly came on for Hincapié. Once Lewis-Skelly came on, it looked like he was drowning out there. It looked like he couldn't handle Frimpong. He couldn't handle the pace and power of Frimpong or handle the game. So I thought that was really telling. And like I say, I felt Liverpool was somewhat in control before then, but they were certainly in control when Miles Lewis-Skelly came on. And I felt that overall from Liverpool, defensive masterclass, point well earned. So yeah, I can't really speak ill of anything else, to be honest. Yeah, you were really the better team in the second half. Yeah, I thought so. I thought so too. I felt the point was the very least we deserved on the overall reflection of things. I actually was one of the City supporters that thought Liverpool could even win yesterday. That you beat Inter away this season was the reason. And you bring up a great point as well. The performance and the result. I mean, obviously the result wasn't the same last night, but the performance was very much like that Inter game. You know, we were going into it not exactly in the highest of spirits. We weren't exactly looking at that game and going Liverpool could win. A lot of Liverpool fans that I saw online were certainly lacking confidence that Liverpool could get, let alone a win, but couldn't even get a point out of last night's game. And yet there were one or two, admittedly, and there were a couple that did that were in the live stream on Monday that were telling me that they will get something, and big up to them that had the confidence and the belief that Liverpool could. I wasn't one of them, admittedly. I felt that this was a pretty much a foregone conclusion as far as Arsenal winning this game goes. But Liverpool, like I said, Liverpool were very good. Liverpool controlled the game very, very well, and that's something that we've not seen from this Liverpool side. But the concern for me, and obviously it's not going to be right now, it's going to be in our next game, which I know we've got the FA Cup this weekend, and I know we've got Barnsley, but let's not take anything for granted here. We can't play like this against Barnsley, and we can't play like this in our next Premier League game or our next Premier League game. Like I say, playing this way can only work in very rare circumstances and very rare games. We can't play like this every single week. I'm happy we got something out of the game because I wasn't expecting to get something out of the game. If we put it this way, if we played like this against a Burnley or a Nottingham Forest or, you know, someone like that, I'll be sat here with a very different expression. I'll be sat here with a very different feeling on the game. I wouldn't be happy. But because we went to the top of the table, Arsenal, who a lot of their fans were fancying their chances against us, a lot of their fans disrespected Liverpool in terms of thinking they were going to absolutely destroy us, which, I did as well. But some of them were calling us like Tottenham. Some of them were being very disrespectful to us, thinking they won the game before a ball was even kicked. It's it just goes to show you that nothing's ever a foregone conclusion in this sport. Nothing's ever a foregone conclusion. Good to chat to you, buddy. Great content again. Keep it up. Going to work. Big up to you, my friend. Thank you for joining me on this Friday morning, and hope you have a good day at work, my friend. Hope it's not too difficult for you. Hope you have a pretty easy day as far as whatever it is that you do at your job. Big up to you, my bro. Hopefully see you again very, very soon. Make sure you're liking the video, guys. Make sure you're subscribing as well. Big up to each and every single one of you that's here on this Friday morning. We're talking football as per usual. We're talking mainly Liverpool picking up a point last night in a goalless stalemate at the Emirates against Arsenal. Look, from an Arsenal perspective last night, yes, I think it is a missed opportunity for them. I feel like Arteta... I feel like Arteta was a bit cowardice in terms of the way he approached it. I think he really could have gone for it a bit more and maybe unnerved this Liverpool side a little bit more. This was a Liverpool side, obviously, that is a bit fragile right now. And I do feel like the slightest bit of adversity would have really unnerved Liverpool going forward. So I do feel like, in a way, Arteta did get it wrong. But I would put the majority of the blame on the players. I would genuinely put the majority of the blame on the players if I was an Arsenal fan last night. I thought Gyökeres was non-existent. I know he didn't really have much service, but I did feel like he was anonymous for the vast majority of the game last night. I thought Hincapié was poor. I thought Saka had a good first half, but again was anonymous in the second half. Leandro Trossard was more interested in trying to fight Conor Bradley than he was about playing a game of football. Declan Rice didn't have his best game. I think that was largely down to the way that Liverpool set up to nullify that Arsenal midfield. I thought Zubimendi was absolutely killer in the game. And by killer, I basically mean he basically killed all of Arsenal's momentum whenever they were trying to go forward. Gabriel was solid enough, I guess you could say. Saliba didn't really have a lot to... obviously had to keep his wits about him. Didn't really have a lot in terms of knowledge, in terms of where his goalkeeper was for that mistake between him and Raya that almost saw Conor Bradley score an incredible goal in the first half. But, I mean... It was just one of them games for Arsenal, I think. I think it was one of them games for Arsenal. I understand the frustration. I understand, obviously, that, Liverpool may have seemingly been there for the taking. I can understand that. But yeah, if you're someone that's throwing your toys out the pram over this result, I don't necessarily understand why, to be perfectly honest, because it's just one of them results that you just dust yourself down and pick yourself back up again afterwards, isn't it? Like, yeah, it's not the best of results, but it is what it is. It is what it is. You just came up against a Liverpool side that on the day decided, you know what, we're going to control the game today. We're going to be solid defensively, and we're going to try and steal it on the counter-attack or steal it in some way, shape, or form to get just the one goal and shut up shop. Would have been interesting if that Conor Bradley goal had gone in. Could have been very interesting if Liverpool did go a goal to the good. But it wasn't to be. It wasn't to be, and we move on. Like I say, it's as you were in terms of that aspect for Liverpool. I did want to touch upon one thing as well. The Florian Wirtz penalty appeal. Now, there were a couple last night. I don't think... I don't think the one on Frimpong was. I felt the one on Frimpong was just an unfortunate coming together. I'm never one of these people that just sees contact in the area and instantly goes penalty. I think there can be contact in the penalty area as long as it's obviously nothing major. Sometimes it doesn't have to always result in being a penalty. Didn't think the Frimpong one was. Didn't think the one on, was it Jesus in the second half for Arsenal? That definitely was not. But the Wirtz one is interesting. Because although it's a poor touch from Wirtz in terms of it's a heavy touch, he probably is not going to get the ball. It's clumsy from the Arsenal defender. It's very, very clumsy from the Arsenal defender. Should that really, though, affect the outcome of the decision? Should Wirtz's poor touch affect the outcome of the decision when he's been taken out by the Arsenal defender? And the reason I bring it up is because I know this one that I'm about to say was worse. But Ibrahim Konate did pretty much the exact same thing against Leeds United. Ball ran out of play. Konate was late. And he obviously took him out. He took out the Leeds player. It resulted in a penalty. Even though the ball had already gone out of play, the referee still pointed to the penalty spot. I'm just saying that what exactly is the difference here? Because Wirtz gets taken out. He probably isn't going to get to the ball, admittedly, because there's an Arsenal defender there covering. But why wasn't the result a penalty in that regard? I don't understand it. I don't think that makes a lot of sense to me, in all honesty. I think I'm a little bit surprised. I'm a little shocked. I don't necessarily understand why it's not a penalty. I feel like, obviously, if it's given, I don't think VAR overturn it. But it does seem like it's in that weird category of if it's given, it won't be overturned. If it's not given, it won't be overturned. I don't necessarily see that being right. I would like a penalty appeal to be somewhat binary. Either it is or it isn't. I hate this category that we now have of penalties where we go, yeah, it was a penalty last week, but that's only because the referee gave it on the pitch and VAR decided not to intervene because it's not clear and obvious. But next week it won't be given because the referee didn't give it and therefore it's not clear and obvious, so the VAR didn't interfere again. I hate this clear and obvious category that we have right now where 1 week it will be given and 1 week it won't because the on-field referee is inconsistent. But yet VAR will not interfere. It just baffles me a little bit. and I feel like Arsenal did get away with it in that in that particular moment. I don't know what you guys think. Let me know in the chat of obviously what you guys think. Were Liverpool robbed of a penalty against Arsenal? Let me know in the comment section. It says here, one of them looked like a penalty. The one with Frimpong, I saw the slow motion after, and the Arsenal player actually hit his ankle from behind. Yeah, there was, like I said, there was definitely contact with Frimpong and the Arsenal player. There's no doubt about it that there was contact in that instance. But I never want to say that just because there was contact, it's a definite penalty. Like, I don't think just because there's contact, it should definitely be a penalty each and every single time. I like the idea that, you know, you can have a bit of contact in the penalty area and it not always result in a spot kick being awarded. I don't know. Like, I don't know. It's again, it's one of them. It's one of them stupid category ones where maybe if it's given, it's not clear and obvious to be overturned, which again is stupid. But it's the world we live in now with VAR and the people that are running it being inconsistent. I don't know. I agree. To me, it was more like a 50-50 situation. Yeah, I agree. I agree. I've seen them given. I've also seen them not given. I understand exactly where you're coming from with that. Man City have just confirmed Antoine Semenyo, by the way. Let me know what you think, especially Grandiosa, who's in the chat, of course, who's a Manchester City fan. Let me know what you make of Antoine Semenyo signing for Manchester City. Is that a good signing in your opinion? Is that a not so good signing? Should you have maybe spent your money elsewhere? Let me know what you think about Semenyo, officially confirmed as a Manchester City player. That has just come through. Big up Ballumers in the building. I hope you're doing well, my bro. Lovely to have you here with us on this Friday morning. Says Martinelli should have been sent off. Big up to you. Yeah, we touched on the Martinelli thing. Like I say, I didn't notice at the time, but obviously him throwing the ball down seemed legit, seemed genuine. And him, like I said, I agree with what Arnie Slot said about him after the game. I don't think his intention was to further harm Bradley. It was a case of, in the heat of the moment, he wanted to get him off the pitch. Maybe he felt he was time wasting. I don't think he was like intentionally wanting to cause further harm. Now, of course, unintentionally, he could do. If that is something to do with his knee in terms of maybe like, you know, ACL or whatever with his knee, he could have obviously further harmed his knee. But I have to agree with what Slot said. I don't think he intentionally meant to do it in terms of, it's not like he's intentionally gone to harm him further. He's just in the heat of the moment, attempt to try and get the game moving. Arsenal are going in search of a goal to win it. They've got a throw in the attacking third of the pitch. And he's just gone to try and move him off the pitch. Now, should he have done it? Absolutely not. I'm not defending Martinelli's actions in the same way that I don't understand these Arsenal fans that are trying to defend Martinelli by saying that he crawled back onto the pitch. If you watch it, he's gone to... Obviously, Martinelli's gone to move him off the pitch, and he's gone to lie on his back. Now, in order to lie on his back in the position he's in, he has to be on the pitch because he's on the line. He's on the sideline. He's going to be touching the sideline when he goes onto his back, and it's the Liverpool physios that kind of force him to kind of turn so that they can treat him by being on the pitch. Not that it matters anyway, because there was still going to have to be treatment. But I don't know why Arsenal fans are defending it rather than just calling out Martinelli for being stupid in that particular moment. I think Arne Slot was very level-headed and very calm in his approach. And like I said, I do agree with what Slot said. I don't think Martinelli meant to do it in terms of meant to cause further harm if he has done. But at the same time, yeah, it was very stupid on what Martinelli did. Did he maybe deserve a red card? I think maybe a double yellow, potentially, because I think him throwing the ball down at him was intentional. I think that was just frustration brewing over that he did on purpose. I feel like that bit was on purpose. And it was so stupid. It was just so stupid, so unnecessary, so stupid. Yeah, it was so dumb from Martinelli. Stay warm, show everywhere, and so on. Yeah. It's if you're in the UK today, definitely wrap up warm and stay safe. Thank you. So it has come through from the club. Great news. First got it from you. Yeah. Just officially confirmed this morning. Bristol City have also done well. Bristol City have also done well for the Antoine Semenyo transfer. They've picked up a nice $10.5 million from the Antoine Semenyo deal. So fair play to Bristol City for negotiating that. We also knew this Antoine Semenyo transfer for a few days because Fabrizio and so on. Yes, but according to Jamie Redknapp, there was set to be a twist in the tail. There was set to be a twist in the tail in which he may still go to Liverpool. No one was believing that, Jamie. No one was believing that. Once Semenyo made his mind up that he was going to Man City, that was it. Done, dusted, and finito. I'd rather take a defender right now rather than him, but we may get a defender too, so let's see. Yeah, I mean, you spent big in January last year. There's no reason why you maybe couldn't do it again this year. And especially with how things have fallen for you right now in terms of the unfortunatity of your defenders being injured. I wouldn't be surprised if you did go in for Mark Gahey because it does seem like he is an easy option to go for. Again, you may have to pay slightly over the odds for him, but you've got a good opportunity to get him before anybody else does because everyone seemingly is waiting for the summer. So you may have to spend a bit more money, but it might be worth it in the long run. Otherwise, I'm not really sure who you go to be honest. Martinelli is the reason why others don't want Arsenal to win the league. Like I say, it was very stupid what he did last night. You agree with... I don't have agendas, my friend. I don't have agendas. I call what I see. I say it for how it is. I've already given Arne Slot a lot of praise for the way that he set up last night and for what he did. Like I said, my only criticism of Arne Slot last night was keeping Gakpo on the pitch for the entire game. That's my only criticism of Arne Slot last night. I thought, other than that, a perfectly fine and solid game plan that was executed very well by the players on the pitch. that was back to Arne Slot being at his best. That was back to how I saw Arne Slot last season. Very tactically sound, tactically in tune. That was back to Slot's best last night. I will give him credit where credit is due. But now I need to see that tactical nuance be put into other games, like Barnsley on Monday. I know it's just Barnsley, but let's not take it for granted and let's not count our chickens before they hatch. There is still the possibility of a giant killing in the FA Cup. That's what that competition is built upon. We've then got to see it in our next Premier League game, and the next one, and the next one, and the next one, before I can begin to even think about changing my mind on this manager. Semenyo is a very good footballer, especially this season. He is also just 26. He's a very, very good player. Very, very good player. I think you've done well in signing him. I think it is a brilliant signing for your lot. And one of the things that I've noticed in the past few games for City is that if Doku isn't there, you don't really have much width. And I feel like he would provide that in abundance. Not only is he good with his output in terms of goals and assists, but he's very, very good at being creative. He's very, very good in terms of getting you out your seat. He's exciting. He's got good technical ability. But not only that as well, but off the ball as well. He's got excellent work rate. I feel like he would be an excellent addition for Man City. I'm going to be intrigued to see how he adapts his game, because one of the big things about players like him is that he goes from a club in which he is pretty much the main man. So he's given a bit of a free role. He's not really given much instruction to do certain things. And then he'll go to a Man City or a bigger team and he'll be expected to do a bit more. He'll be expected to maybe reduce that kind of freedom that he once had at his other club. And it's going to be interesting to see if he can adapt to that. A bit like Jack Grealish at Aston Villa, was able to be Jack Grealish at Aston Villa, went to City. And I feel like one of the things that Pep Guardiola took away that made Grealish so special was he was asked to do a lot more. He was asked to do a bit more defensively. He was asked to do a bit more as a team player rather than as an individual. So it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Semenyo can adapt to being that. But other than that, you've got one hell of a player on your hands, in my opinion. And maybe he can help our attack to find solutions in space when the opponent parks the bus. We may need his creativity and tactical awareness. I am happy overall. We needed something. Yeah, like I said, I feel like you just lacked width in the past few games. And I think Semenyo would obviously create that. He's versatile, can play on the right, can play on the left. When you've got like Shirky and Foden, but no Doku, you're obviously quite narrow. So I feel like Semenyo really does complement those kinds of players, and especially in those kinds of environments and those kinds of games. I thought it was shocking treatment what Connor received. The Arsenal players should have been sent off. I thought Liverpool was the better team. Great defensive performance. Big up Dean, who's in the building. Lovely to have you here, my friend. Yeah, I completely agree with how Liverpool played. It was a defensive masterclass, in my opinion. Especially after the opening 20 minutes. Opening 20 minutes, it seemed a little bit shaky, a bit nervy. But once we got through that 20 minutes, once we quietened the crowd down, we most certainly put in an excellent performance. And as far as what Conor Bradley is concerned and how he goes, it's, yeah, like I say, it is disgraceful. I hate what Martinelli did last night. It was absolutely stupid. I'm more annoyed at the ball being thrown. I feel like the ball being thrown on top of him was the more deliberate action of the two. Like him getting off the pitch obviously was deliberate in the sense that he wanted to get him off the pitch, but I don't think he understood or read the room, the severity of the situation. And it was just, and that was more stupid than anything. The one that was more deliberate was the ball being thrown on top of him whilst he is in pain on the floor, clutching at his knee. So, That was more stupid. An apology doesn't help much. Yeah, I agree. I understand where you're coming from. While it was an away point yesterday, an away win would have been nice. No Salah, Isaac, Gakpo played, and Liverpool got away with a point. Yeah, I mean, I don't think many people were expecting it, but let's face it, we deserved at the very least a point from that game. We'll take that point. Away, let's say away from home. No Salah, no Isaac, no Ekatike either. Gakpo leading the line, which was least said about that performance, the better. But yeah, I couldn't agree more with what you're saying, my friend. Meant snow every. I get you. I know what you meant. Big up Reluctant Gamer is in the building. Lovely to have you here, my friend. Topsy-turvy game for you the other day. That incredible 4-3 victory over Leeds United. Yeah. I can't say anything more than that. And you're up to 6th now. You're up to 6th as well. Which is big. Like Brentford in 5th, Newcastle in 6th. Just shows you like a couple of wins here and there can really catapult you up the table. A couple of defeats can also see you slip down. But yeah, things are seemingly on the up for Newcastle right now. Big up to you, my bro. Hope you're doing well on this Friday morning. Take care, Fletch. Yeah, I understand you with Cody playing. Calvin Ramsey and Joe Gomez was on the bench yesterday. 2 goalkeepers on the bench yesterday. I'm going out soon. Yeah, no Curtis Jones. Chiesa obviously didn't come off the bench. No Rio Engamara either. Yeah, just a little bit frustrating that the bench wasn't used a bit yesterday, but I can't fault the performance of the 11 players on the pitch. I really, really can't. But yeah, big up to you, my bro. Hope you're doing well and hope you have a good day on this Friday. Last season, Liverpool would have beat Arsenal yesterday. Is Slot back? Is the team back? Well, I mean, we drew both times to Arsenal, home and away last season, so not 100% sure we would have done. But, yeah, to say that obviously we have no Salah, no Ekatike, no Isaac. Our attack was very blunt in that aspect. Yeah, I felt we did really well. And like I say, if the decision making of Jeremy Frimpong was better, or if Cody Gakpo was better, who knows? Maybe our attacking, maybe the attacking side of our game would have been a lot sharper yesterday. Who knows? Perhaps now Pep only can play Foden or Shirky if the other is out. Means we have some nice competition between the two. I feel like in certain games you can play them both together. You know, if you're coming up against like a Burnley or something, someone that's going to park the bus, you obviously do need some width, but that doesn't mean you can't find a way to shoehorn Foden into the team as well as Shirky, or Shirky as well as Foden. You can maybe play Foden alongside Shirky, maybe coming off the wing or something. I don't know. I feel like there is a way that you can play both together, whilst also having a bit of width to stretch the opposition defence. But yeah, I wouldn't be going against Liverpool at Anfield, or I wouldn't be going and facing Arsenal with Shirky and Foden. It might something along them lines might not work, but at least you've got options now with the addition of Semenyo, with the return of Jeremy Doku from injury. You have options now, and that is obviously going to help you and do you a lot of good. Big up, bro. Big up, Nems is in the building. Lovely to have you here, my friend. Big up to you, my bro. Good to have you here with us. I think I am okay with that. Semenyo needs to be a starter. Pep roulette, man. Pep roulette. There's no guarantee with Pep roulette. Some days you're playing and you're starting from minute one. Other days you're finding yourself on the bench and coming on with 60 minutes on the clock. So we shall see with Pep. We shall see. I feel like he should be thrown into the team. There's no reason why he shouldn't be thrown into the team, especially with the form he's in right now. What a way to leave, by the way. Bournemouth hadn't won since about, beginning of October. What a way to leave by scoring the winning goal against Tottenham to bring your club's first win in just about 3 months. Like, absolute madness. Did he not throw the ball on him right after he fell? Then after he pushed him, that's got to be a red, especially with VAR around, or are they around? I say if on the Wirtz penalty, it didn't seem like VAR was really paying attention, but it may have been that way around. It may have been that way around. I don't remember now off the top of my head. You made me second guess myself, and I feel like you may be actually right. You may be right, actually. Maybe it was the ball being thrown and then the push. Which I feel like if it was, then yeah, that is even more stupid, because you've at least had time to assess the situation from that point. Yeah. It may have been that way around. I for whatever reason, I seem to remember it being the other way around, but you may actually now be right, you said that. That's really stupid of me. That's my bad. Frimpong is looking good, and Kirkez looking more solid. So we have really good positives to take away. Yeah. Kirkez was really good last night. Like I say, I feel like it was a bit shaky opening 20 minutes, but you're going to get those kind of spells against Bukayo Saka because he is very dangerous. He's very, very dangerous. No matter what people think of him, like, he's a very dangerous winger. So you are going to get those spells against him where you just got to kind of, weather the storm, so to speak. But I felt after that, Kirkez was very, very good in the game. I felt it was very, very good, very solid, very compact. And I feel like we are seeing the better of Milos Kirkez now. And here's the thing as well. Guess what Kirkez wasn't doing yesterday? Guess what he wasn't doing yesterday? Kirkez wasn't inverting yesterday. This is the thing that I have been so frustrated about all season long. Kirkez being looked to make like a poor signing, a poor player, because Arne Slot kept on inverting him. Guess what happened yesterday? He wasn't being inverted, and you saw Milos Kirkez have a solid game. A solid game. Who would have thought it, apart from anybody that was saying Milos Kirkez is not an inverted fullback? Who would have thought it, apart from anybody and everybody that saw Milos Kirkez for what he is, and that is a proper wingback, proper fullback, whatever kind of phrasing you want to use. Not someone who's to play inverted, someone that is to hog that left-hand side. Jesus Christ, it took so long for us to get here, but we finally did, because now he finally goes, don't be an inverted fullback. You can't do it. That's nothing against you. It's just not your role. You're better being put on the wing, on that side. Just go and be Milos Kirkez of last season. We didn't quite see it in terms of, he wasn't quite given the ball as much, and he wasn't quite given the opportunity to whip in those crosses. But you know what? He was still freaking solid. That's what we ask. That's what we want. Big up Milos Kerkez last night. Absolutely brilliant. Jeremy Frimpong, like I say, again, I waxed lyrical about his performance. It was very, very good. And obviously, with the injury to Connor Bradley now, it looks like Frimpong's days at right back at right wing are over for the foreseeable future. It looks like he's going to have to play a right back now, unless, of course, Slot has an obsession with maybe putting Soboslai back there. I don't know. Because he ain't going to use Joe Gomez. Why would he use Joe Gomez? He's obviously not going to use Joe Gomez at right back, but, that's obviously going to be it. Frimpong was good. Like I said, I can't really pick fault with any player last night except Gakpo. Gakpo's the only one that I have an issue with. Other than that, everybody was very, very good. Good point. The competition has grown after the new signings may be important. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's why the January transfer window is very intriguing. Hope you're good. Yeah, man, I'm good. I hope you are too, my friend. Hope you are too. Sick way to leave. Yeah, absolutely. No inverted and Kirkes shines through. Exactly, bro. Who'd have thought it? Who would have thought it? Anybody with half a brain, anybody with a footballing brain, anybody that sees Milos Kerkez for who and what he truly is would have seen it. Like, he's not an inverted fullback. It's why he's been looked to make. He's being made to look bad. People are like, oh, Kerkez ain't that great. Oh, you wasted your money there. Oh, he's Darwin Núñez at left back. No, he's not. No, he's not. Darwin Núñez at left back is absolute slander and horrible. And Jamie Carragher needs to get in the bin for that. Kerkez is a very, very good wing back. But he's not an inverted one, which we have seen from this from him this season because of this manager. All of a sudden, Kerkez is told not to play inverted. And he plays very, very well. And it's like, well done on finally seeing it. But Jesus Christ, it took you well over half a season to do it. Oh, so frustrating. If we had Ekitike, we would have won. Yeah, one of Salah, Isak, or Ekitike. I do feel like we would have got 3 points rather than just one if we had one of those men playing for us yesterday. Again, though, it's so frustrating because it shows that we can do some good stuff. It shows that we can have some control in games. It shows that we can be solid defensively. So where's that been all season when those kind of players have been here? And it's not as simple as going, well, obviously they disrupt our defensive play. No, that's stupid basic analysis. That's not even genuine. So, yeah, frustrating. I am happy with the Yeah, me too, man. Me too. We had a really good game. We had a really good game yesterday. Like I say, we had a game plan. I felt like it was going to be a very long night from the opening 20 minutes. And then it was sort of weird because when Bradley had that effort on goal in which he hit the crossbar, it was almost like a boxer who is being considered the underdog in a fight against the champion that or a boxer that is just seen as this unbeatable giant. It was almost like this underdog managed to get a good punch on this guy. And all of a sudden, we grew in confidence from that point. All of a sudden, we were like, oh, this guy's not all he's cracked up to be. We can actually go for this. And we did. Because, like I say, the first 20 minutes, the crowd was really up for it for Arsenal. The players fed off that energy. The right-hand side of Arsenal was their main point of attack. Saka had the beating of Kirkes. Saka had the beating of anybody that was coming up against him. He was being really influential. It was just the final ball for Arsenal was lacking. But then after 20 minutes, the crowd quietened down. Liverpool got some good possession. Liverpool were actually playing some good football, which I have not said throughout the majority of this season. There have been a few times where I said we played some good football, but for the majority of this season, I have never said the words Liverpool and good football in the same sentence. We actually started playing some good football. We strung some nice passes together. And then we got that Conor Bradley opportunity. And from that, punch, to use the boxing term, from that moment, Liverpool were like, this Arsenal side aren't all they're cracked up to be. We could actually take the game to them here. And it took us until the second half to really, really do it. But that's when we took control. And like I say, when Miles Lewis-Skelly came on as well, we just told Frimpong to run at him. We said that this guy is scared. This guy is terrified. We just said, Frimpong, just run at him. Use that pace and run at him. And that's exactly what Frimpong did. And he pretty much had him on toast that entire game. Like I say, I'm very happy with the performance. I'm very happy with the performance overall. I thought we were very, very good, very much worthy of a point. Yeah, like I say, I can't speak ill of it. I can nitpick. I can obviously say Frimpong in the final third. Sometimes that's a lot to be desired. I can say Gakpo was shocking. I can say I can maybe speak on one or two of the minor things that could have been tweaked to be a little better. But for the most part, it was a solid performance by Liverpool. But now, again, we need to not play the same way for our next game against Barnsley, but we need to be smart against Barnsley. We need to be smart against our next Premier League opposition. We need to be smart in the next Champions League game. Whatever it may be, build. Because we've been here before where we've been like, very good performance, now build. Oh, we didn't build on our next performance. Oh, well. That's good. I'm glad you're okay, my bro. Glad you're all good, my friend. I try. Some of you may not agree with me. And if you don't agree with me, tell me about it. And we'll talk about it. Because that's what I enjoy doing. So if I'm not, just talk to me about it. I'm just speaking what I see. And I just say what I see. And if I'm wrong, tell me about it. Big up Nick, who's in the building. Big up Nick, who's in the building. Big up to you, my bro. Hope you're doing well on this Friday morning. Big up Gerson, who's in the building. Lovely to have you here, my friend. Don't be carried away, folks. It's all about results. We still drop points, and it was just another draw. Nothing has changed. I mean, from a Liverpool perspective, we weren't expected to get anything out of the game. So to get a point out of the game that we weren't expected to get anything out of actually is pretty good. I know nothing changes in terms of obviously, you know, the race for Champions League spots and all of that doesn't necessarily change too much. It is what it is in that regard. But for Arsenal, again, if there are Arsenal fans out there that are also throwing their toys out the pram over this result, have a word with yourself. Have a word with yourself. Yes, it's a missed opportunity. Yes, it is annoying that you didn't obviously live up to the hype that the game promised from your squad. In terms of, Liverpool being there for the taking, Liverpool not being fully at the races. Arsenal should be the ones exploiting all of Liverpool's weaknesses. But at the same time, in saying that, these are just some of them games you get in a season that you don't quite expect, but you always know are going to be tricky. It's just one of them games. What would be more concerning is, I believe you have Nottingham Forest next. I believe you have Nottingham Forest next. I could be wrong on that one, but I believe you have Nottingham Forest next in your next Premier League game, at least. What would be more concerning would be is if you drop points to Forest. What would be more concerning is that if you went to teams like Burnley or teams like Wolves or teams like your teams like your Leeds Uniteds and that, and you drop points. That would be more concerning from your perspective. That would be more concerning. Dropping points to Liverpool, even a bad Liverpool, as frustrating as it might be to be like, we could have really gone for the kill here. It happens. It happens. Like I say, Liverpool and Arsenal drew twice last season, and Liverpool still went on to win the league. Who cares? Liverpool have gone to sides like Man United, for example. Man United seemed at the time in poor form, probably one of the worst Man United sides you'll ever see, and yet United still managed to get points out of Liverpool. So again, it's nothing to be concerned about from an Arsenal perspective. It's as you were. It's completely as you were in terms of where both teams sit before this game happened and after this game happened. It's a fantastic point for Liverpool in a game that they weren't expected to get anything out of. It's also a point gained for Arsenal because this game could have gone even worse for them had Liverpool had sharper tools in the attacking third, or maybe if that penalty decision had actually gone in Liverpool's favour. It could have been a lot worse for Arsenal. They got away with one a little bit, but at the same time, it's still a point. It is a point that probably was a fair result at the end of the game. It is what it is. It is what it is. Dean says Gakpo is so predictable. Yep. Gakpo has got one trick, and he is not very good at that one trick. At least Iron Robin, another fellow Dutchman, by the way, he probably learned from Iron Robin this trick, but not learned it very well. At least Iron Robin had one trick, and it would work. He'd make it work every time. Gakpo has one trick, which is to cut inside on his right foot and shoot. Ignores the overlap of the likes of Robertson and Kirkes. Ignores any other player who might be in a better position than him. He just goes for goal. Now, you can't say he doesn't lack confidence, because to have the confidence to try this each and every single time, with the result pretty much being the same each and every single time, takes confidence to constantly and consistently do. So you can't say he doesn't lack confidence. But what you can say is that overall, his performances are underwhelming. His performances are frustrating. And for the at least the immediate future, I don't want to see him in the starting 11. Sure, bench him. 100% bench him. Sure, bring him on with 20, 25, 30 minutes to go from time to time, I've got no problem with that. But I don't really want to see him start, and I certainly don't want to see him finish the game with 90 minutes under his belt. Because it's becoming a problem. It's becoming a consistent and constant problem. And I'm starting to look at Arne Slot and I'm going, is he like some sort of illegitimate son or something of yours? Have you like recently taken a DNA test and is he related to you in any kind of way? Or I'm looking at it and going, does Gakpo have some sort of dirt on you? You know, could you be going to prison and he's using it as like some sort of blackmail to hold over you? If you don't play me, I'm going to release this to the public. It's becoming a problem. It genuinely is becoming a problem. Gakpo, and like I said, I don't wish or mean to scapegoat anyone, especially when this has actually been a positive stream for once. This has actually been one of the more positive streams in recent weeks, in recent months when it comes to Liverpool. We've not only praised the performance of Liverpool, we've actually sat here and gone, you know what? Wasn't a bad result. Wasn't a bad performance. This was good. This was good. Usually I'm struggling to find things that are good about Liverpool right now, but I can't really pick fault with the majority of things today. But starting Gakpo each and every single week still irritates me. Irritates me in the sense that this guy can do no wrong and there's no jeopardy for playing poor. And the vast majority of that comes down to seemingly what we learned earlier this week, which was the clash between Slot and the board over the playing time of certain youngsters. Rio Ngamoa seemingly playing in Arne Slot's eyes enough minutes. Now, I think we'll see Ngamoa play against Barnsley on Monday. I feel like Ngamoa will start that game. He should start that game. But the issue I've got is that the moment that our FA Cup run comes to an end, regardless of when, regardless of who ends our FA Cup run, if someone ends our unbeaten run, that will be the end of the season as far as what Ngamoa is concerned. Unless, of course, maybe the final day of the season, it's a dead rubber game. There's nothing on the line. We've secured Champions League, or we've secured some form of European football, or maybe on the odd chance we actually don't have any European football. But a win isn't going to help us. A loss isn't going to be devastating, and a draw is not going to do anything either. That is probably going to be the last that we properly see of Rio Ngamoa this season. Gakpo will play each and every single game. I hate it. Not because it's like I hate Gakpo, because like I say, last season he was good. Last season he was good. And this season, there have been glimpses of him being good. I feel like he started off the season really well. And then after the first 4 or 5 games, his performances started to deteriorate. But there you have it. That's just obviously the reality of the situation right now. Like, Slot doesn't want to play Ngamoa. Slot doesn't even want to use other left wing options. He could play Soboslai out there. He could play Verts out there. He could play Ekatike out there. He could play Chiesa out there, of course. He could play a number of players on that left wing position other than Cody Gakpo, who would probably put in at the very worst, the same level of performance as Cody Gakpo, and yet he doesn't want to. He doesn't decide to. He instead decides and opts for Cody Gakpo to play every minute of pretty much every game. And there you have it. That is just the reality and stupidity of the situation. Well, yeah, it is what it is. Rio would have destroyed Arsenal. Why didn't Slot put him on? He just likes Gakpo too much. He likes Gakpo way, way too much. But yeah, I would have liked to have seen it. I would have liked to have seen... Because here's the thing that I constantly say about N'Gomora as well. It doesn't matter how young you are. If you are good enough, you are good enough. Look at what Lamine Yamal was doing at Barcelona. Now, I'm not saying that N'Gomora is or will get to the level of a Lamine Yamal. I'm not saying that. But he's got a lot of quality. He's got a lot of potential. He's got a lot of raw talent. And the only way to properly unearth that talent, the only way to polish this little diamond is experience. Experience is going to help him grow. Experience is going to help him progress. And experience is going to help him potentially reach that potential. He needs to be played more. And it doesn't... And like, obviously the argument was send him out on loan. Send him out on loan. Why does he need to be sent out on loan? Why can't he contribute and do a job for this Liverpool team in the here and now? Look at what Chelsea are doing with Esteval. Look at what Esteval is doing. Esteval, 18 years of age. And he's arguably Chelsea's best winger. Now, admittedly, I don't think the bar of Chelsea's best winger is exactly set too high. Especially when you consider that other wingers for Chelsea include the likes of Alejandro Garnacho and Jamie Gittins. I get that the bar isn't exactly high there. But he's still 18 years of age. He's still performing very well for Chelsea in a Chelsea side which has been somewhat underwhelming this season. And in the Premier League entirely, the guy has performed very, very well overall. Why can't N'Gomora do that? There's no reason to suggest he can't. He just needs to be given the opportunity to play. Because in the cameo appearances that he's made, he's actually played really, really well. He hasn't really put a foot wrong in the games that he's played. He's took on his man from time to time. He's put in some decent crosses. He obviously scored that incredible goal against Newcastle. Reluctant gamer, if you're still in the building, I do apologize for, again, bringing that up to you. But there's no reason to suggest why N'Gomora can't be starting or playing in more games. There is absolutely no doubt in my mind why that can't be the case. The only thing that's holding him back is Arne Slot. And that's what really, really frustrates me. I would have liked to have seen N'Gomora go at Timber last night or go at whoever last night. I would have liked to have seen that. I do feel like he's got this unpredictability factor about him that I think Liverpool sometimes lack. And when you consider that we were in the ascendancy for most of the game last night, I feel like having someone on that left-hand side with a fresh pair of legs might have been the way to go. Especially because, again, every time we tried to look for Gakpo, he did nothing. Aerial duels, lost. Ball to feet, lost. Passing, inaccurate. Dribbling, couldn't do it. Shooting, wild. All of those things, all of the basics, he couldn't do last night. So why not just throw on Engamar? Why not even throw on Chiesa, go Chiesa up front and pull Wirtz out to the left? I'm not exactly a massive fan of Wirtz on the left, but at least it would have been something to maybe tilt the game more so in our favour. Because, like I say, it did seem like last night we were playing for the majority of the game with 10 men. So just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there. So that is Arsenal out of the way and done with for this season. We now move on. And we move on to Barnsley. Barnsley. Monday night, Barnsley, FA Cup. Need to take it somewhat seriously. I don't want another Plymouth situation on our hands. Really don't want another Plymouth situation on our hands. We need to take it seriously. Obviously, trophies this season are dwindling. FA Cup is an opportunity for us. It's obviously not the one that we necessarily wanted or desired, top of our priority list, but with obviously the Premier League being somewhat out of our reach right now, and with the Carabao Cup obviously being no longer an option this season, Champions League, highly doubt we're going to be doing much in that. The FA Cup is something that we can look out for a little bit of positivity in a season in which hasn't created a lot of positive vibes so far. I expect him to rotate, but I feel like we should take it seriously. I expect Slot to rotate. So Mamadashvili is obviously going to come in and goal. Gomez will be at right back. I imagine that given our lack of centre-back options, he might go Endo and Konate, and then at 45 minutes, probably go Endo and Van Dijk, if Endo's fit. Is Endo fit? I can't remember if Endo's fit or not. I feel like something like that will happen. It'll be like a makeshift sort of centre-back pairing. Robertson to come in at left back. Our midfield, Curtis Jones, Trey and Yoni. I feel like this will be the one game where he actually trusts his youth, because this is what he did last season against Plymouth. So Trey and Yoni will come in. Curtis Jones will come in. I feel like Chiesa will start. Engamara will start. If Ekatike's fit, it might be a good opportunity to maybe build some of his fitness back up. So he may get a start and then come off after 45 minutes. It depends though on whether or not he's going to be fit to play. Um, but like I say, it's going to be very interesting to see how he lines up on Monday against Barnsley. I would rather take it a bit more seriously than that. I would rather take it a bit more seriously and take no chances in terms of obviously getting knocked out. I don't want another Plymouth on our hands. And obviously, like I say, the trophy I think is too good to pass up. But we shall see obviously what happens. I'm enjoying the moment for what it is right now. I'm enjoying a more positive side of Liverpool than we have seen in recent weeks. Surely Slot has options to do something different, even if there is injuries or quite a few players now. Well, yeah, I mean, here's the thing as well that really does frustrate me. The bit that frustrates me is that we haven't necessarily had long-term injuries for a while. We've had injuries, but of course we haven't had long-term ones. And then already this season, we've had 3. Well, 2, and now it seems Bradley will be a 3rd. Leone, who got injured in the Carabao Cup, of course, done his ACL for the year. Isak broke his leg. And now and now it seems Connor Bradley is. We've had 3 long-term injuries, and we haven't really had one for a while. Which is just so incredibly frustrating and so incredibly unfortunate. So annoying. Yeah, just so frustrating on that front. But yeah, there are options. It's just Slot doesn't want to use the youth setup. He just doesn't rate or want the youth players, it seems. Which is so, again, annoying because the only way that these kids are going to learn is by getting experience. And I'm not always for. I know some players you may want to send out on loan to gather experience, but I feel like there are some players that you just need to help grow in the natural environment that you put them in straight away. And then Yoni and Engamoa are certainly 2 of those players. I feel like we need to start playing them more. We are all wanting to see Chiesa. Yep, tell me about it. We want to see more of him, but it doesn't want to. What, for one reason or another, Slot's fallen out with him, doesn't want to play him. Like I say, Chiesa started the season as our 3rd choice striker behind Isak and Ekatike for when those 2 or one of those 2 weren't playing. And yeah, the past couple of games where we've had neither Isak or Ekatike, he's decided instead to go for Gakpo or Wirtz. It's strange. No sign of Chiesa whatsoever. Oh, that's not entirely true. That's not entirely true. I think he came on with like 5 minutes to go or something, didn't he, in the last game? But even so, that's still not good enough. Still not good enough. Is there any update on Bradley's injury? I don't think there is. I don't think we have the kind of verdict yet. What did Slot say here? Slot said it doesn't look great. If he has the injury, which we fear he might have, then of course, I don't know yet, but it don't look great. And if you have to go off on a stretcher, when we see the video, we both think probably the same, but we have to wait on the scans. It's that bad, or maybe he can play on Monday against Barnsley. Let's hope so. I mean, I wouldn't. I don't think we're seeing him on Monday. I'd be very shocked if we were seeing him on Monday against Barnsley. I hope it is the best case scenario for Conor Bradley's injury. I hope it's like the best case scenario. I hope it's not as severe as what we're fearing it will be or it is. I hope it's just something that can be more easy to recover from than what we're all fearing. So, Joe Gomez, Calvin Ramsey, etc. will play against Barnsley. Yeah, I forgot about Calvin Ramsey, to be fair. I forgot about Calvin Ramsey. That's my bad. But yeah, so probably again, Calvin Ramsey starts at right back, Gomez in the middle, partnering if Endo's fit, Endo. Otherwise, it will be one of Kanate or Van Dijk, and the other one will come on at half time, probably. Robertson at left back, Curtis Jones in the midfield with Trey and Yoni, Chiesa on the right, Engamara on the left, Ekatike up front, maybe, if obviously he's fit enough to play, maybe to rebuild some of his fitness that he may have missed the past couple of weeks. Yeah, something along those lines. Something along those lines. How long will we been live for streaming for? We're going to be wrapping things up very, very soon. We're going to be wrapping things up very, very soon. Imagine a Joe Gomez Anfield goal on Monday. He needs to score, man. He needs to score before he leaves. He needs to score before he leaves. Simple as that. Ugh. Even if it's like, even if you give him a penalty, he needs to score before he leaves. Hi, join for last few minutes again. Big old to you, bro. Always good to see you. Always good to see you. Anyway, we're going to be wrapping things up there. Thank you to everybody that has joined me on this Friday morning. A much more positive stream than what we've been used to in recent weeks. Really do rate that. Hopefully more of the same from Liverpool Football Club going forward. Big up to each and every single one of you. Like I say, thank you for getting involved in the chat. If you haven't already, make sure to hit that like button on the way out. Subscribe if you are new or want to see more content like this. Both things will always and forever be greatly appreciated. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Thank you all so much for taking the time out of your busy days to hear the ramblings of this guy. And thank you all for your love and support to the channel. It really does mean the world to me. Thank you all so much. Big up Kinsman is in the building. Big up to you, my bro. Lovely to have you here. It was nice that we draw. Yeah, like I say, it was a good performance. And it was just unfortunate instead of losing. Yeah, exactly. Instead of losing. But it was slightly unfortunate we couldn't get more out of it. But you know what? We'll take it. It was a good performance. It's something that we hope that we can build on in terms of the controller side of the game. But we shall wait and see on that. Big up to each and every single one of you again. Thank you, Dean. Thank you for being here, my bro. Lovely to have you here with us. But what was Martinelli thinking of that moment? Yeah, Martinelli absolutely, absolute moment of stupidity in terms of what he did to Conor Bradley. Absolute stupidity from Martinelli. I will say, I didn't actually mention it as well. I will say the commentary from Gary Neville to sort of condone violence against Martinelli for what he did. Yeah, it was stupid. But he kind of said, I'm surprised that none of the Liverpool players are giving him a whack or something along them lines. And I'm like, you're really condoning violence? Like, this coming from the guy who, you know, would see certain things happen on the pitch in terms of players mocking other players and take offense to and things like that. And yet he's condoning violence against Martinelli. It did seem a bit strong and a bit strange. I understand the frustration. I understand the anger. But coming from Gary Neville, who's meant to be a somewhat impartial pundit and commentator, just seemed a bit strange to me. Anyway, that's all I'll say on that one. Thank you all so much for being here. Like I say, smash a like on the video if you haven't already. Subscribe if you are new. Both things will always have forever be greatly appreciated. Thank you to each and every single one of you that commented in the chat. Big up to each and every single one of you. Obviously, continue to leave your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, feelings, whatever you want to call it, down below in the comment section, because I'm sure what you have to say will make for an interesting reading, whether it's about anything that I've talked about in this stream or whether it's about anything that you want to talk about and discuss for future live streams to come, maybe, or future videos to come. Yeah, that would be greatly appreciated. Big up to each and every single one of you. Once again, I'm Fletch. This has been another Fletch Talks live stream. I will see you all again soon in another video or live stream or whatever it may be. Cheers, guys. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I'll speak to you all again very, very soon.